Okay, I'm just making sure. We have Dr. Thomas Dobbs, State Health Officer. And again, at supertalk.fm/watch. You had said we had some problems, but I think we've cleared it out, and here he goes. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good. You might be able to turn that volume down a little bit. It's a little hot there. It sounds like one of the cardio machines going in the background. So, are you feeling okay? Everything's okay?
Oh, yes, sir. We're just busy and getting busier.
Are you going to give two? Do you get 2 vacations when this is over?
You know, we're going to stack it up. I think my wife and I have decided we're going to take 2 weeks off whenever this sort of slows down.
I think you will be due that, and I think most people need a 2-week vacation when this thing is over, and hopefully that will be soon. But I want to talk about a couple of things here. First of all, 801 were the numbers that rolled in yesterday. 21 additional deaths. Where are we? What's your analysis of where we are right now?
Well, today anticipate seeing even more cases. We haven't released the official numbers yet, but it's going to be higher. And without a doubt, we're going into a fall surge. It's undeniable. All the indicators are moving in the wrong direction. We're seeing more cases. Our deaths are starting to creep up, and we know that deaths will follow a week or so after, or even several weeks after the increase in the number of cases. And our hospitalizations are increasing pretty rapidly, and our hospital space is getting a little bit on the tight side. So, get ready. I mean, we know the things that can be done. It doesn't have to be extreme, but there's some simple things we can do to turn this around.
But you're saying we're not doing those as far as the mask, washing our hands, and staying out of crowded places.
It's the social stuff that's killing us, Paul. If we could just do a couple, we don't have to close down the economy. We can go to work, we can go to school. Yeah. But, if we could just mostly stick with our nuclear family household members, if we could, if we do something social, let's do it outdoors with small groups. And if we would wear a mask in public, it'd be different.
We are doing more testing. How do you, just mathematically, because I mentioned this on the air, and people don't like me to say this, but again, it's common sense, and it's a good question. If you're flooding the markets doing 50% more, 60% more, whatever it happens to be, even 10% more, if you're doing more testing, logically, you're going to find more cases.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing as much testing as people think. If you look at the White House report on testing, our testing is actually flat compared, or even down from where it was several weeks ago. And our percent positive is increasing pretty significantly. So we're not testing our way into a surge. We're getting sick into a surge. And it's also important to look at multiple lines of evidence, because certainly you don't want to let one bit of information skew the others. But the rise in hospitalizations, that's not something that can be accounted for by increasing testing.
I do want to ask you this, though, as far as some of the states, even in the increase, it seems the death toll is going down, which I had one article this morning just said that the doctors have been doing a better job, the medical industry is doing a better job identifying this and being able to treat it. So are you seeing that our death rate is continuing upward and we're not following along with some of the other states who may be seeing a rise in cases but a decrease in mortality?
If you'll remember in the summer, we kind of had a similar conversation that, we had a rise in cases and our mortality continued to drop. But that really was more a reflection of the timing. If someone gets sick, and certainly if you're a younger person, it's going to take a while before you get sick enough to be really sick. But it takes 2, 3, 4 weeks even for someone who gets really sick to then go on and die a lot of times. So there's going to be a significant delay. Now, we're doing better treating. There's no doubt about it. But it's not of the order of magnitude that it's going to make that as big a difference as we would hope. Even with the best potential treatment, we're still looking at 10, 11% mortality for everybody who's hospitalized.
What is the capacity now as far as the hospital is concerned?
We've been running pretty tight. In a week, we've gone from about 19% ICU bed capacity to about 13%. So there's still some capacity out there. We haven't had a lot of input from hospitals crying uncle yet, but obviously as the cases rise, we're seeing market increases in daily hospitalizations.
How about the flu shot?
Yeah, get a flu shot. I got mine yesterday. So
I got mine.
Please do. It's going to make a huge difference. We don't want to overwhelm the health system. We also want to protect people. It's one of the easiest things we can do.
Well, we got a lot of, this is the time of the year when we start everything from trick-or-treating and all of these things, and there are ways to do this, and we tell people to just think about it as far as the parties and everything else. It's sometimes you're It's people are not paying attention to it, but you're seeing that the gatherings are the number one culprit on doing this.
Yeah, and social gatherings, people letting their guard down. It can be family gathering. It can be sort of a social gathering. We've had, several schools have to close down because of parent-sponsored social events.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the wrong time for it. We need to preserve our powder, keep our powder dry so we can work, go to school, do the things that are important, keep the economy going. There's nothing that's going to kill the economy more than an uncontrolled outbreak.
Internally, what are you hearing as far as the vaccine? What's the update on the vaccines?
We still think we're on a good path to getting a pretty decent vaccine. It probably won't be available within the next month or so. And even when it is, it's going to be really for sort of high risk folks, either the folks who are high risk of getting it or high risk of bad outcomes. And so general population vaccine probably will be further on down the line. So for us to really get the huge impact of a vaccine, we have a little ways to go. So we're going to have to keep up some of this sort of social preventive stuff, which, if we think about it, it's just really not that hard.
Have we made a decision? Is it going to be with CVS or Walgreens or Walmart? Or are you making that decision, the health department in the state? Or are we to that level yet?
We're gonna have sort of like a multi-pronged approach. We do plan to use some of the infrastructure we've built out for testing because we do testing in every county, free testing, now free rapid testing in every county in the state of Mississippi, and we're going to increase availability as the surge kind of grows. So we'll use that infrastructure, but also we'll have partners. We'll have pharmacy partners, we'll have hospital partners, and we'll have clinical partners. With your primary care docs. So expect an all hands on deck response as far as getting the vaccine out, especially when we look at the general population.
Yeah. I know when people hear one negative on this, it scares the hell out of them. And I thought we had somebody in one of the test programs that died from one of the vaccines. Have you heard that?
Yeah, there have been a couple of delays. One of the English trials, the AstraZeneca, and then the Johnson & Johnson had a delay. But when you get this big group of people, bad things are going to happen. And so they really have to dig in and see, was it just a statistical error? If you get 60,000 people, something bad's going to happen randomly. So that's where they have to really dig in and see. So we'll just have to really wait and see what the data shows.
I guess my other question is, are we ready, or is the health department ready for this as far as rolling this out when it does become available, certainly by the first of the year, to those vulnerable and those, I would think, over 65? And it's supposed to be free, is my understanding.
Yes, sir. As far as like the first phase of getting it to the high-risk folks and then the healthcare providers and stuff, we already have existing partnerships with these, what we call closed points of distribution with hospitals and other providers, such that we have logistics set up to get that distributed quickly. We feel pretty good about phase one, getting it to those groups. It's going to be obviously just a slice of the population. But as we get into more general population, as we learn more information about what vaccines available, the complications of getting, a frozen vaccine out to all these, disparate locations, we've got a lot more work to do on that front.
Which one are we going to be using, or is it going to be a combination of? How do we know which one?
We don't know. We suspect it'll probably be several that are available. Maybe in sort of like a, rolled out sequentially as the data shows. That's still a lot of unknown. But it's going to. But I think we'll have a good distribution plan once the time comes.
Want to go back to the flu? Is any flu showing up now as far as the state of Mississippi?
We're not seeing it in our broad statistics, but we are getting anecdotal reports of flu cases. And then just through my sort of informal network of communications with local docs, we are seeing some reported cases coming out there. So it's starting to roll in. So get your flu shot now.
I know you got to go, and I wish we had more time, but I got to get you back on. We got to talk about 65, and maybe we could do that one day next week.
I would love to. We are not a fan of 65.
I know it. We got to talk about it. I know you've got to go. Dr. Dobbs, thanks for spending some time with us. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.